Today, I have with me some Peperomia Prostrata cuttings, which I've tried to root in water, but it's not worked because they've all rotted in there. Normally I just pluck out the leaves and I just lay them on substrate and they'll grow for me. But this is the first time I've tried doing this in water and it just doesn't work. So I'm going back to my old method of just putting them on top of substrate. But today I want to try a new substrate. I have some cocoa chips at the bottom of this terracotta pot. I'm going to put some more in there, but I'm going to make it very small, so I'm going to peel it and make it into really small pieces. Now normally what I do is I'll use a succulent soil mix to propagate my prostrata leaves, and it works, it does work, but after a while when the plant gets bigger I feel like it dries up pretty quickly, because in the succulent mix I have lots of stones in there. I have lots of pumice and just tiny pebbles in there. When the weather turns sunny, the leaves burn quite quickly, because maybe the substrate is really hot with all the stones and stuff like that. It absorbs the sun, the heat, so the surface is quite hot as well. So now I'm trying something new. I'm trying to grow this in a, well, I'll call it a cooler substrate. So I'm going to put this at the bottom just as just to lift the bottom of the pot up, because basically when you grow prostrata you don't actually need very thick soil. You just need maybe like this layer of soil, this layer of substrate. So my guess is anything that is very fast draining, very quick draining, will make quite a good base. Now this, I'm experimenting this as well, so I don't know whether this is going to work, but I'm experimenting it, and I'm going to document this through time and show you the results. When you water the plant, the cocoa chip will absorb some of the water and it will keep the bottom of the pot quite cool, yet it doesn't retain the water at the bottom of the pot. It will let it drain. And there's some lacquer in there, which is fine, which is also a fast draining substance. Now what I want to put on top of there is peat moss. I've just started using this thing. I've got a small bag. I've used some of it. I'm going to try propagating the leaves with peat moss. I'm going to just sprinkle a very thin layer. I actually love the texture of this. The peat moss is very loose. Okay, I'm just gonna do that. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pluck out some of the leaves as such. Just gonna pluck it out. This is what I normally do, and it works. I can confirm that if you pluck out the leaves and lay it on soil, on substrate, it works. What I'm just trying to do is trying to find a better substrate for this. Now if you can see, can you see all this these markings on top of the leaf? This is because Initially I thought it was overwatering, but actually this is because it's been scorched by the sun or by the heat that was absorbed on the succulent substrate that I've been using on this plant. So this is the reason why I wanted to try a new substrate to propagate a new pot and see whether this cooler sort of substrate works better for this plant. Not all of them will grow into a plant, but mostly I find that if you have a good patio, it will grow better. I actually have also tried putting the whole thing in here, and it will also root, but I find plucking out each leaf has a higher chance just because there are so many of them here. Okay, so if each leaf turn into a plant, then I have 4 plants here instead of one stem turning into a plant. Now this one is not a very good leaf because it feels thin and it's already been scorched on the top. Don't think these are going to grow into plants. Try to get some of the fresher leaves like these. These look like good leaves. Still feels thick. And this is a Peperomia flower. This is the inflorescence of a Peperomia. Looks like rat's tail. Okay. So I'm just going to try and flip the leaves so that most of the tops face the top. Hopefully these will grow into little plants for me and they will be so cute. Okay, so now I've brought this one into my favorite place to propagate, which is my toilet, because it is quite bright, not burning hot, and it's quite cool in here. So it's always a perfect place for rooting, I feel, in my house. Now before I do anything, I'm going to just squirt it with some water just to give the top layer some moisture. They're so delicate, aren't they? Hey guys! Today is 23rd of June and welcome to my toilet again. This is the progress of the Peperomia Prostrata leaves. As you can see, 2/3 of them have dried up or have rotted away and gone. These are the ones that have been left, but after a month or so, you can actually see baby growth. Look at that. Those are the little babies popping out of the leaves. I don't know if this camera can give you a closer look, but look at that. Can you see the baby growing off the bigger leaf? We'll bring this somewhere else to show you to get a better lighting and a better look of it. This one is the easiest, I think, to pick out, to see. I'm just trying to ease the little tiny roots out from the soil. There. Let's move this aside. There. Cute, isn't it? Those are the roots there. I'm not going to shake off the soil. Well, that's peat moss, but you get an idea of how it really grows out from the stem of the leaf. So many peperomias do that. Watermelon peperomia, you can also grow them from a leaf cutting. Let me just bury it back. Okay, so that's another one there. You can see, tiny one there. So what I've been doing is I've been just sitting this on top of my toilet bowl because the light there is quite mild but bright and very cooling, and I've just been spraying this every day, misting this with some water. That's all I've been doing. So if you have noticed from the first video, this whole pot was full of leaves. As you can see, 2/3 of it have died off. It has rotted off, and these are the ones that have been left, and so these are the ones that are going to grow into a plant. So every leaf here is a potential plant. I just spotted one that's rotting away. See, that's rotting away. Or is it? Yep. So if they rot away, they'll just die off like that. They get very thin, like paper thin. You can just remove them. And this part of the stem is also rotting. So I'm going to remove the brown part and try to stick this part back and see if it grows. It's not much, it's just one more leaf, but one more leaf, if it grows, is one more plant. So what I've also done is, you don't have to do this, but just a little bit OCD. What I did was I flipped all the leaves to the right side up, but you can actually just sprinkle them all like the first time I did, and they will still grow. So these are the healthy ones that will keep growing in this. And I will update you again when they grow bigger. So here's another update of the Peperomia Prostrata. Today is 16th of July, and you can see the plant has grown quite a bit. See, all these little ones have grown bigger. Look at that. You can see clearly that this leaf has grown a plant. And all these are new. Look at that. That's the mother leaf, and that's the little plant. So these have grown longer as well. How cute are they? So some of these individual leaves haven't taken. Either they haven't taken, or I've just popped new ones in there. As my other Peperomia Prostrata leaves come off, I save them and I just pop them in here. Waste not. So I've kept this in the toilet so far, and the leaves seems to have grown slightly further apart because I think the light in the toilet is getting lesser. So I've just brought this pot of Peperomia Prostrata out nearer to the window, and we'll see whether the leaves come together more, because if there is not enough light, the leaves will spread out more. It's called etiolated. The leaves become etiolated, they become leggy, because the plant is actually searching for the light. So now I've brought it out slightly closer to the window, and we'll see what happens to the new growth. And by the way, I did an experiment on this. I've been misting this with very, very mild liquid fertilizer every day for a week, and the growth has been quite exponential. Hi guys, today's the 12th of August, and this is going to be my last update for this Peperomia Prostrata. Now, with all the experiments that I did with this plant, the first thing you noticed is within a month, this plant has grown substantially. Look at the amount of leaves and the amount of network it has now. I believe that this is attributed to the very, very mild foliar fertilizer that I've been misting it every day with. So what I did was I mixed like maybe 1 ml of foliar fertilizer into 500 or 600 ml of water, and I've been misting it lightly every day with that. So I'm sure that contributed to the substantial growth of this plant. Secondly, as to the etiolation, I've put this plant closer to the light, but I actually don't see much difference. It's bushier, so I cannot really make a conclusion on this. It looks bushier, but maybe because it's been growing a lot. As to whether the distance between two leaves have improved, have shortened, I can't really make a conclusion to that. But what I can say is, the more light this plant gets, the more faded the pattern gets. So as you can see, all these new growth have no patterns on them. Perhaps because they're new growth, but I've seen new growth with patterns on them. So I'm thinking that because I've put this in highlight, the light has actually faded off the patterns on the Peperomia Prostrata leaves. And that's not what we want, right? Because what we want is the turtle patterns on the leaf, because that's what this is famous for. So I'm going to pull this back from the light and hope that the patterning comes back. Now finally, the peat moss is actually working very well. I've had no problems with heat or burns or dry leaves. As you can see, they're all fresh and green, even though it's been really hot these days, and this was placed just beside the window and the heat was quite high. So the peat moss is doing its job. It's retaining quite a lot of moisture, and there is no pebbles or whatever on the surface to reflect back the heat or the light and scorch the leaves. I hope you have enjoyed this video, as I've enjoyed experimenting on this plant. Makes me sound like this bad evil scientist, isn't it? Experimenting on my plant. Anyway, I will see you again next week or the week after. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And if you found this video informative, please give me a like. Thanks for watching, guys.